Welcome to this week's Life Conversations with a Twist. I am very honored to have Beckie Kullberg here. We just met, but we've been mutually connected through our amazing friend Kara. I feel like she's connected me to so many amazing women. And I cannot wait to dive into your story. And I know that this conversation is going to inspire so many women. So, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Heather, for having me. I'm grateful to be here.
So tell the listeners a little bit about who you are, what you do. I always say where you live because I mean, we're very much local to each other, but I've been interviewing people all over the world, and it's just cool to see where everyone kind of resonates at.
Yeah, I'm Beckie Kullberg. A lot of people say, how do you say your last name? Kullberg.
Easy.
And yeah, I'm in Northern California, just like Heather. Katati, which is the accordion capital of the world, a
Mhm.
little piece of trivia there. And I am, in a nutshell, I'm a life coach focusing on body confidence for women over 40. I have had quite the journey of from loathing my body to loving my body, and it's been a long journey. And I feel like it was so pivotal for me and impactful that I want to share my journey with other women. When I hear a woman bash her body or say something negative about it, physically hurts my soul. And I feel like it's my mission to help as many women as possible look at themselves in the mirror and say, dang girl, you look good.
Uh,
That's my mission.
I love that. And we all need it so much. And I'm definitely guilty of body shaming. I actually people have always said that I'm very confident. And I'm like, I mean, God gave me this body and like this is my body. And I choose the way it looks or the way I feel. And so I've always just really leaned into that. I've never looked at myself. I mean, of course you look at yourself and you're like, sure, I'd love to like tone a little of this or, I would like to change a little of this, but it's like I feel like we're in control of that, of like making that happen. And so I cannot wait to have this conversation. And, sitting at 43 years old and in the middle of perimenopause. And one thing I didn't tell you is I'm about to be a surrogate again for my second journey.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
And so it's like this whole mindset of like, I know I need to lose weight because I want to like feel better, but then I'm gonna get pregnant. It's like this like total mind like thing that's going on right now. So I can't wait for you to tell me all about it.
Mike, well, have you done podcast on being a surrogate? Because I would be interested in hearing that one.
I've done a few of my own, like on my own podcast, back with my last journey. And then I've been on other podcasts as well, because I think people are very intrigued by the conversation. And then I'm going to do a whole series during my pregnancy, during this journey and having guests on, whether they've been through it before or fertility doctors and really leaning into that community. And I really want to educate people on it. So more to come on that. But yes, I have my own. I'll share those with you.
Okay.
Okay, so take us back to little Becky. Like, what does little Becky look like when she was a child? Obviously, I feel like big things happen in your life to like change how your mindset is. And obviously, you even said that you had some body shaming issues before. So let's hear like your journey on how you got to where you are today.
Pre-puberty, little Becky was very little. She was so small, really looked emaciated, super, super thin. And I was a tomboy. I played outside. We lived out in the country. We had a bunch of boys that lived on our street. It never occurred to me what my body looked like, anything. I was not even, I didn't have an awareness about it at all. And then I went through puberty, and like most young women, I filled out. I got curves and breasts and all the things. And my mom, who had been obese all of her life, decided that it was a really good idea to put me on a diet. It was not on my radar. I didn't think I needed to be on a diet. I chose to do it because I wanted to please my mom. Like, oh, I guess something's wrong with me. And we went to the diet center. I wrote about this in my book. We went to the diet center every morning to weigh in before school in junior high.
Oh, in junior high?
This is junior high. Yeah. So I would go to the weigh-in place, and if my weight was down, I felt great. Like, oh, life is wonderful. And then if my weight was up, I would go in feeling like a loser, feeling like a failure, usually in tears. And it would just ruin my entire day. And that set the tone for how I saw myself. I was always either good or bad.
Hmm.
And then within just a few months of that, I found myself in the pantry scarfing down Ritz crackers. And that was the first of many binges. And I was a binge eater for 25 years before I got treatment. And that's really how it all started. And by it, the journey of lack of self-worth and lack of self-love, really,
Hmm.
and settling for men that weren't the best choices. And that's it in a nutshell.
When you look back now at like the weight you were, do you really think that you were overweight?
No,
Mm.
no, because I'm now I'm 5'1.5". When I was 13, I was 5'1 3/4". I always said I'm 5'2". And for someone of my height, I have big bones. So I could never be 5'1.5" and 100 pounds. I would look like I was really unhealthy. And back then, the charts were so ridiculous. My height, I should be like 100 pounds to 112 pounds. Well, people would say, what's wrong with you? So I have a small waist, I have big butt, I've got curves, I've got big hips. And I actually now I like that about myself. But back then it was, you didn't, a big butt when had a bubble butt and something, you were fat. So I was not, by my standards, now looking back, I was not overweight. I mean, I probably weighed maybe 130 pounds, 132 pounds, and got down to 118 pounds.
Wow.
So it was ridiculous. And I, yeah, I harbor a little bit of resentment for my mom. She's gone. She's been gone for 5 years. But I also feel like the responsibility of the diet center.
Hmm.
I to just say, you know what? You don't really need to be here.
Right.
Why did they accept me as a client? This is the first time I've ever asked that question. I've never even thought about it
Well,
because
and
it
even like
really,
in June, like you're in junior high, like your body is still developing. You're going through puberty. I mean, I remember always being really skinny and thin. And then when it was after I graduated high school and I went into college and I started like drinking and eating out, and that's when really the weight gain, like for me, came on. But I'm like, I still looking back, like I was never that. I wasn't big, I wasn't fat or anything, but it's like it's so crazy, like when you're in these certain parts of your life, like there's just a different expectation of what obesity is, or you're chunky or whatever. And it's like, why can't we just accept who we are and how we feel, not necessarily like what the world sees us?
well, it's that you see pictures, you remember having a photo taken and thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so fat. And then 10 years later, you look back at that picture and like, oh, if I could only be that fat right now, because you really weren't. It's this story that we tell ourselves. And so if we think about it right now, what will our 10 years from now self look back and see pictures of us from today? And why can't we give us that love and acceptance now?
Right. Okay, so it took 25 years. You were like in this yo-yo of needing to lose weight, not happy with your body, dating men that didn't make you feel good. Was there like a moment in time or a certain maybe age that like was like a turning point for you?
I've had many, many turning points. So I've been married. I'm on my third marriage. We've been together 25 years, so it's kind of working out. My
Good
first
job.
marriage, I was young. I allowed him to suck the life right out of me, the life and the joy, everything. I mean, it was so dysfunctional. And then my second husband, I thought I could fix him. You can't do that, just so you know. So then moving into my early 30s, I I dated men that I knew I could walk on because my second husband left me for another woman. So I was a wounded woman. And then something shifted in my early 30s before I met my current husband. And I thought, if I don't change something, nothing will change. You know, if nothing changes, nothing changes. And I spent more time by myself, accepting who I am, loving myself, and saying, I'm just not going to settle for someone who is less than what I believe I'm worth. And it was shortly thereafter, like just within a few months, that I met my husband, and he's amazing, loves me as I am. I mean, he's the first person I've ever been with who's been able to I feel like I can truly be myself. The girl that I am with my friends, that's what he sees. In fact, he probably even sees more raw person than that. So yeah, that was really one of the biggest pivotal moments in my life was my early 20s saying, oh, I'm not going to stand for that BS anymore.
Mhm. What things did you do? Like, did you go to retreats? Did you read books? Like, I feel like it's like definitely like a mindset. You have to sit in this mindset for a while. Like, I agree. Like, you can't just wake up and be like, I love my body now. Like, it's a journey to get there. Like, were there certain things or any advice that you could give to that woman that's like kind of sitting in that space right now of things they could do, actions they could take to help with that mindset?
When I was in my early 20s, I had a friend give me the book called You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. And I have it. It is, I got to buy a new one because it was so worn out. So I reread it again in my early 30s. You Can Heal Your Life. And it really, I think you always can have a shift in mindset, no matter what. Even if I can read that book 100 times and it's going to sound different each time. So I read that and I spent time by myself. I love to go on drives. So on Mondays, I didn't work on Mondays. I'd just get in my car and I'd start driving and I'd cry. I'd talk to myself. I would do all the things and work it. I'm a verbal processor. So I would just verbally say, well, Becky, what do you think about this? And have conversations with myself. I didn't have any therapy at that point. So it was really spending time with myself and saying, look at, how far you've come. Also acknowledging progress. It's really easy to see you're making the same mistake over and over again, and not as easy to say, okay, I had a choice to make the same mistake and I made a different choice this time. So to acknowledge progress was something I also learned how to do.
Mm. I was listening to yesterday. I was driving home with my kids from seeing a friend, and I was listening to Mel Robbins' podcast, and it was like three habits. It's a more recent one that she did, like three habits, like to like love your life, basically. And one of them is like moving your body, but like moving your body in a way that doesn't feel scary, or you have to like go on some like crazy weight loss journey. It's like literally just getting up and moving your body 30 minutes a day, and I'm like, okay, this is easy to do, right? And the other one was phone, like eliminating the phone because of all the things that it does to your brain. And then connecting. And I was like, and in none of those said anything about being on a protein only diet or drinking all this water and doing all these things. And I was like, literally, it's just getting up and moving your body. And we all know once you do that, like how amazing just that feels. And it makes you mentally feel better. How do you feel and how about exercising and losing weight in that way? And I'm sure you probably were on a roller coaster with that as well. But like, where do you sit now with the advice around that?
Where I sit now is move your body.
Yeah.
If you're sad, move your body. If you're happy, move your body. If you're depressed, move your body. If you have low energy, move your body. I'm such a pro for that. I've always been a walker. Like since my early 20s, I've always walked fairly regularly. And then in 2020, during lockdown, I was going crazy and sent a text to a friend and said, hey, what have you been doing? She said, I've been hiking. And I met her the next day to hike, and I've been hooked ever since. So hiking it's the magic cure. I've done a lot of hiking over the last 5 years, and it's just magical. I think for me, I would make it be mysterious. Like, oh, you've got to be in really good shape, or you need to have certain equipment. No, you just put on shoes, and hiking is getting out with some elevation. It doesn't matter your pace. It just matters about getting out, and you can hike to places that you can't drive. So you see things that are phenomenal.
I totally agree. I've been trying to I live, like I mentioned, I live in Windsor, so I have like Shiloh at Foothills, and I do at least try to go once a week. And there's something about being in nature, even just walking around your neighborhood can be peaceful, especially in the morning when no one's awake and the birds are chirping and the sun's coming up, and it's like this very like peaceful place. But yeah, there's something about being in nature and trees and all the things that just make you feel, it just makes you feel better.
And I'll add to that, I can speak for myself. I would do a 15-hour hike before I would go to the gym to do weights, because I just have this thing in my brain that I don't like to do weights. And about over a year ago, I joined a local gym based on a referral, and I love it. I found my tribe. I found my people. And I think that so many of us, we go on this, I'm going to go on a diet. Oh, I got to join a gym. I'm going to go on a diet. I got to join a gym. And it's like this knee-jerk reaction. No, you don't. We just talked about hiking. Get out and walking. There are so many ways to move your body that are fun. If going to the gym, if you enjoy it, go for it. Diet and exercise tend to be one word. Diet and exercise, diet and exercise, diet and exercise. They're two completely different words. They're two totally different activities and behaviors. When you exercise simply for punishment because of what you ate, you're not going to get enjoyment out of it. You're not going to want to do it again. So find something that you do that you enjoy. There are some days that my exercise or my body movement is yard work. I get out and work in my yard. I don't punish myself because I didn't do a traditional workout. I was outside moving around. There are people that dance. There are so many ways to move your body to where you can find it fun. If it's not fun, you're not going to do it. That's how I am. If I don't enjoy it, I'm not going to do it.
So true. And there's, yeah, like you said, there's so many ways. Like I'm like, do pickleball, do tennis, like ride a bike. I mean, there's so many great activities that like, and that's all they said. That like, just elevate your heart rate. That's it for 30 minutes a day. And I'm like, that really does feel manageable. And if you can just do that, I mean, even today, like before, I was like, I'm going to get up, and it just changes your mindset for the day. And then I feel like it's not even just a mental thing, but then I physically feel better, even though like one walk isn't going to like shred all these pounds, but I at least like feel good. And then the more you do that, the more you feel better and more confident in your body. Is there any other like habits or tricks that a woman could do to love her body? Obviously, like moving your body and reading and doing all these things, but is there any other things that have helped you along the way?
Yes, mirror work. Mirror work works. A lot of women and men will avoid looking at themselves in the mirror, or when they look at themselves, they see the imperfections, and that's all they see. If you're reinforcing what you don't like about yourself, when you look at yourself and just find one thing that you like, maybe it's your eyes, maybe it's your smile. I talked to one lady recently, she goes, I love my feet, and that's the only thing about my body I love. And I said, then focus on your feet. Focus on what you love about your body, or even just like. And then it grows from there. You know, I have a lot of cellulite on my body. I could easily look at myself in the mirror and go, ew, 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 ew. Instead, I have strong legs. I have a strong core. I have strong arms, all the things. And focusing on what you do like, and it grows from there. Look yourself in the eye and say, I love you. Or say, you're beautiful, whatever it is for you. Mel Robbins, you brought her up, the high five habit, and do the high five habit.
No, I totally agree. And all the podcasts and stuff that I've listened to around, loving your body, they've always talked about that. And it's so weird to like do it, to like stand in the mirror and like tell yourself like you're beautiful, or I love your eyes, or whatever. But it does work. I had a thought this week because we went to a water park, and so everyone's in their bathing suits, and you see these people who might not necessarily probably should wear some of these bathing suits, but like what I loved about them is they didn't care. They didn't care what they look like. They didn't care that they might have had cellulite, or their tummy's hanging out, or whatever it might be. And then I like had this thought too, that we always are constantly comparing ourselves, but like what is the perfect version of comparing yourself to? What are you comparing it to? Like there's so many body types, there's so many different types of women out there, and it's like why are we comparing ourselves into what?
Comparison, the
Yeah.
thief of joy. Just before I go into the comparison part, here's a tool for you. When you or anyone else listening to this is something that I do that has really, really minimized my comparison. When I realize I'm comparing myself to somebody, I stop and without judgment, just simply say comparison. Comparison. It's just noticing. That's what I'm doing.
Mm.
And then I can either make a different choice. If I want to sit in comparison, I can. That's a great tool. You can also do that with judgment. Judging. Judging. We do that a lot I do that a lot at the grocery store. And I get to practice that. Judging. Judging. So comparison, judging. Why do we compare? You know, I've spent a lot of time thinking about this because I've done a lot of comparing. I think a lot of women. And you can use it for good. Comparing yourself to someone who is more toned, more fit, more further along in their career, whatever it might be, you can look at it as, oh, wow, if she can do it, I can do it. That's one way. The other, the comparison for not so good, it comes from a place of how you feel about yourself. Really has nothing to do with the other person.
Mm-hmm.
I notice for me, when my confidence is low, my comparison is high.
Mm-hmm.
And if I find myself comparing more, then I go, okay, what's going on with my confidence? And I know that my confidence in the last year and a half had wavered considerably due to different circumstances. And so now I'm in this place of rebuilding my confidence again. And it's literally making a commitment to myself, keeping that commitment, and doing that on repeat. So eliminating, notice if you're comparing more, it's how it's indirect. It's like that, the weight, the scale, those old scales,
Yeah.
the comparison is up, confidence is down. Confidence is up, comparison is down. Because when you're feeling on top of your game, when you're like, oh, this outfit is rocking, my makeup looked great, my hair looks great, I got the right jewelry on, I'm feeling good. Are you out looking and comparing yourself to people? No, you're not. You're like, she looks good, she looks good, she looks good. And then, but when you're feeling crummy about yourself, you're like, yeah, I feel crummy. Oh, look at her, look at her. It's all an inside job. It's a total inside job.
It's so true what you just said too about like feeling confident sometimes is the way you look, right? Whether it's that outfit or your makeup is looking great or your hair is like on point. And then some days you just don't feel great. Like what is your advice to that? Like if you're feeling low, like do you just like go and get dressed up or like how do you get your mind back to like feeling confident again?
I work from home and this is what I usually look like. I put on my makeup, I do my hair, I wear jewelry and and put on clothes to feel good about myself. It's when we look good, we feel good, and it's not a surface thing. It's when we look good, we feel good. It's about feeling good inside. Yeah, if you don't feel so great inside and you put the fancy dress on or put the fancy clothes on, it can elevate it a little bit. But I know for me the other exact same thing happened the other day. I was just feeling really crummy about myself. I don't feel like getting dressed. I don't feel like putting on makeup today. I just don't want to do it. I was like, okay, what's a compromise? What's a compromise? Okay, I'll wear shorts, sneakers, and a cute top, and I'll wear makeup and do my hair. Okay, I'm not gonna, wear a dress, or I'm not gonna do this because that would be contrary. That would be considerably contrary to how I feel. So if I can just like one up a little bit, then
Mhm.
that elevates me. So that's what I like to do. What I want to do is wear sweats, no makeup, and put my hair in a ponytail. That's not going to make me feel better. So I
Absolutely.
do a little bit.
I love that. And I think sometimes too for me when I'm like feeling like not great about myself, if money will allow, I'll go to like, my favorite store and maybe buy a new outfit or a couple new shirts or maybe like a new pair of earrings or something just to like there's something about that that always made me feel better. And I'm like, okay, I got this again. The other thing too is sometimes people won't just talking about dressing. I think this helps me sometimes is, we look in our closet and we're like, we have nothing to wear. We have nothing that makes us look cute. I've actually like go and like purge my closet because then you like or refold or redo, relay it out. Because then you find like clothes and you're like, oh my God, that was so cute. Oh, I forgot about that outfit. And it's like, it kind of like changes your mindset about your closet.
The closet. The closet. There's so much to say about the closet. You know, when you stand in front of it and you open those doors, what's looking at you?
Mhm.
Is it shame because it doesn't fit on you? Or is it, I can't find anything in there? If that's what if when you're opening those doors, that's what you're hearing, seeing, and feeling, no wonder you don't want to get dressed. No wonder you don't want to go in there. No wonder you feel crummy. Once or twice a year, I literally pull everything out of my closet. I go through it. I donate what I don't like, haven't worn for a while, doesn't fit, whatever, and put in everything in there that fits. When I open my closet, I'm like, what am I going to wear? Because everything fits. It doesn't matter if you have 3 pair of pants in there and 5 shirts. You know they fit.
Mhm.
I had I was at my highest weight in 2015, and I had all these little clothes, and I put them at the top of my closet. And every time I opened my closet, it was like they were looking down on me, and I just felt this. Oh. And one day I said, "Gone with you, be gone with you," and I bagged them up and I drove them right to the Goodwill, and there was that energy wasn't there anymore, and you just don't realize how much energy it takes
Mhm.
because it's not an obvious thing. You open them, the doors, and what's happening? Is it then you get to do some work in there. And
Mhm.
it's okay to only have 5 pieces of clothing in there. It's okay.
Mhm.
Just take what you're not going to wear and get it out of the house and take it somewhere, sell it, do whatever you want to do. But do not have clothes in there that don't fit you. It's going to suck your energy.
Well, and it's so funny because everyone's like, "Oh, I'm going to keep them because when I fit into them again." And I always tell people, I'm like, "But when you can fit in them again, are you going to want to wear them? Or are you going to want to like go shopping and reward yourself with a new outfit because you lost weight or you got back to this weight that you want to be?" And they're like, "Yeah, you're right." And I'm like, "So get rid of it. Like, why keep it if it doesn't fit you?"
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I have probably the biggest question, and this is where I think a lot of comparison happens and a lot of body shaming happens, is around social media. What is your thoughts around social media and how that can contribute to low confidence?
One, if you're scrolling through social media and you feel not so great about yourself, the way I see it is you have 2 choices. One, what is it? Go deeper. What is it that is bringing this up? And that's the place to start. I did this TikTok on, I don't agree with Mel Robbins. When you go through your feed, if someone doesn't make you feel good about yourself, then don't follow them. I don't agree with that. And I don't agree with that because when you go to the grocery store, if you see somebody that you don't like, can you just swipe them away? If only we could do that. We can't do that. So go deeper. Ask why is this? I have a classmate who posts pictures of herself. I'm 58 years old. She looks hot in a bikini. I see pictures of her and I'm like, okay, wow, wow. All right. What's, what's this coming up in me? What's this bringing up in me? Okay. So that's an idea. Question it, get curious about it. Why do I feel this way? Then if you truly do not get joy from that person's post or those people's comments or whatever, then you can unfollow them if it doesn't bring you joy. Go through your news feed and that'll Marie Kondo, is that her
Mhm.
name?
Yeah.
To if it doesn't bring you joy, get rid of it. Decide how you want to experience your news feed and know who was it? Like Nicki Minaj or something like that. Someone asked her, when you posted that picture, how many pictures did you have to take to get that picture? 100 or more. 100 or more. Okay, if I'm going to take a picture that I'm going to post, it's probably the one of two that I took of myself.
Yep. Yep.
I'm not committed to that level of I need to look good.
Mhm.
So you're comparing your insides to their outsides. Behind the scenes, you're not seeing that ugliness, that messy. We're not seeing that. So if you can look at it from that perspective. Also, you're in your 40s, I'm in my 50s. I can't imagine being a teenager and having social media, what that would have done to me. I truly can't even imagine it. It's the kids these days, they're having an experience totally unlike something we can relate to.
Mhm. Mm. So true. Yeah, I know social media. I agree. I'm like, I could not imagine. And now raising teenagers in this day and age, it's one of those things as a parent you just have to be way more like aware of and kind of, watch that for sure. Because it's like, God, I can remember my self-esteem back then, and I can only imagine what it would be like for them now. So yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, social media. We talked about all kinds of different things, right? Like body shaming and mirror work and all of those things. Is there anything along your journey that has taught you that you could share with our listeners who might be struggling with their own confidence?
Yes. Inner critic, self talk, whatever you want to call it. When I truly, in 2016 was like my most transformative year. That's where the major transformation occurred. And it started, the number one thing I knew had to be what was going on inside my head. No one can do it for me. No one can undo it for me. So I knew it needed to start in there. And I started paying attention to how I talked to myself. And when I noticed it wasn't very pleasant, I didn't shame myself for it. I simply stopped. Okay, I just insulted myself. That's not very nice. How can I reframe it? And I started to reframe it. And then over time, I realized I couldn't say anything bad about myself. And so now I can't, it's hard to even give an example of it. And if I make a mistake, you'll hear me say, I'm so funny or I'm so pretty. I can't say I'm such a insert a negative word. I cannot say it anymore. And so if you find yourself doing something and wanting to say, I'm such a, whatever, I'm so pretty, I'm so funny, I'm hilarious. And I'll say that and it just feels better. It feels better. That transformation did not happen overnight. It took probably a good year of diligently working inside my head, saying, oh, I caught you. I caught you. But the biggest key to that is when you catch yourself saying something negative to yourself, is stopping without and recognizing it without judgment.
Mm.
Because, oh, I'm beating myself up, and then beat yourself up for beating yourself up. Then the cycle continues. You got to break that cycle of negative self-talk, and nobody can do it for you. It's not like, oh, I have this inner critic, like it's something separate from you. It's you. It's you talking to you, and only you can control that. How badly do you want it? Do you want to shift? Do you want to feel better about yourself? Some people, it's comforting to have that inner critic saying negative things because that's all they know. But when you get so sick and tired of hearing yourself beat yourself up, that's the formula that I used is pay attention, reframe, and then speak kindly of yourself.
So good. So you do coaching. So how could somebody who's listening like get in your world and get in your presence to help them through their journey?
You can go to my website, BeckieKullberg.com. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm doing research and I'm doing through interviews with women over 40 who avoid mirrors, feel like oftentimes, especially you mentioned perimenopause. The women over 40, perimenopause, postmenopausal, we don't look or feel like we think we're supposed to. And there's a disconnect. And it's if people who are experiencing that, I want to interview you. I want to interview, 30-minute interview via Zoom. I'm not selling anything. I just want to know how you're thinking. What's the story you're telling yourself so I can hear that. You can go to my website to see that. Another way is that we didn't talk about is my book, The Problems Do Not Lie in Your Thighs. I wrote this book back in 2020. I decided it was basically my book on how I broke up with binge eating. And it was a raw story. And as soon as I was done, I closed my laptop and said to my husband, no one will ever read this book, ever. It's too personal. And then I was out hiking and I got this download of The Problems Do Not Lie in Your Thighs. And it was a total how-to guide to move through it. And then at some point, I decided that I would marry the two. So it's my story combined with a how-to guide all in one. You can get it on Amazon. And I published at the beginning of this year,
Good job. Congrats.
January 2025. Yeah.
I love that. I just was like, I need some more books in my, because I've been really trying to read more. So I will add that to my book list because, and it's been so cool because a lot of my guests that have been on my show have books. And that's something like I've always inspired. I don't know what it is yet. I mean, it'll probably be the story of my life and all the ups and downs that I've had. And there's a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't know about. And so I'm like, I need to share that. But so I'm always inspired by people who write a book. So good job for finally publishing it.
Writing a book is very cathartic. If you have that desire, do it. Even if you don't have the intention to publish it, write it. Write it.
Yes. Anything else that you want to tell our listeners? You told us your website. Is there anything you want to leave the listeners with today?
Know that you get to decide. You get to decide your worth. No one can give it to you. No one can take it from you. When your foundation is based off of how much you love yourself, and loving yourself isn't egotistical. It's not selfish. It's a gift that you give yourself so that you can give to the world. When you own your worth and it becomes unwavering, then no one can take that away from you. Likewise, when you seek outside yourself for validation or confirmation, then you also allow other people to take that away from you. So give yourself validation, give yourself confirmation, however that looks for you.
Oh my gosh, so, so good. Thank you, Becky, so much for being here, for sharing your story, for inspiring us. I know, I mean, all my listeners are mostly women, so I think everybody could take a little bit of tidbit to apply to their life. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you for having me, Heather. It was wonderful.